One of the things that's interesting that you said is you were the first person to bring Fuente into Saudi Arabia.
That's correct.
Did you get paid for that? Do you mind sharing?
Yeah. Well, what happened was I approached, Carlito back in 2008, and I said, Carlito, I have these lounges in the Middle East. He originally sent me to, the guy that does Prometheus. What was his name? Keith Parks. And, Keith, businessman that he is, he wanted me to buy a gazillion humidors and this and that. And then he was going to sell me his version that he had, which was the God of Fire. That didn't work out. So I went back to Carlito. I said, that's not going to work for me, Carlito. And I had a relationship with Carlito. I knew him for many years, since the 90s. And he took me over to the distributor, worldwide distributor, the Jeremy and Joshua, I don't know how to pronounce their name, Marikoffel, whatever. They're nice guys, but they cut me out pretty quick out of the equation. We purchased like 2 large quantities of cigars. We sold through it quickly, and that's when those guys said, whoa, who is this guy Nick, and how's he selling cigars when we weren't able to sell them in the Middle East? And then they, of course, went to somebody else and then started to import their own, which is fine because I wasn't set up, and never did I claim to be. We were the only alternative at the time for smoking cigars. So was I paid? Yes. We bought it at distributor pricing, and then I stopped, and that was fine because that's when I started blending my own cigar. And predominantly what we sell in the lounges at the time was Cuban and the LH, custom blends.
See, the reason why
the Padrones, I will say this.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, the Padrones were very, very respectable. I dealt with Caesar, and once we started selling it, people all of a sudden go, oh, it's selling. And there was a gentleman that approached the Padrones and said, we want to be your distributor in the Middle East. They were out of Dubai. And Caesar came to me and said, Nick, these guys want it. How do you feel about it? And I said, Caesar, thank you for giving me that opportunity to even have a right of refusal, but they will do a much better job at distributing your cigar in the Middle East than I will, because predominantly we're lounges. And that's great that you have somebody that was willing. And I really respect the Padron family and for Caesar for giving me the opportunity to say, okay, thank you. At least you're telling me. So yeah, we brought in Padron first and Fuente into Saudi Arabia.
The reason why I asked that, and thank you so much for sharing, bro, but I can't, from the outside looking in, right? Jerry and I are getting way more involved in this industry, right, Jerry? And what we're finding, what I'm finding, I'll speak for myself. Going back to these cigar clicks. So when I look at it, I'm like, okay, this brother here introduced a new country to Fuente Cigars, made a couple coins on it, probably should have made more, but now it's there. You can kick to the wayside, even if people are trying to do business correctly. But then there's a situation of, okay, you launch your own cigar, you make a hell of a blend, and then it's like, okay, where's the support on that, right? Not saying you're not doing well, but like, where's the support on it? You understand what I'm saying? And then all these events, these PCAs, even here, like, I'll make it more personal. Like, you open up a shop, and these clicks, they go to certain different spots, wherever, they might have their favorite DJ, or maybe they want to support the owner, or whatever the case may be. But as soon as you get that ping on the radar of being like a well-ran shop, a shop that's doing jazz events, a shop that has domino nights, things of that nature, now all of a sudden everybody wants to ping on you, right? So it's like, I'm really interested, going back to this Costa Rica trip. Like, if you do something like that, if we do something like that together, I think it changes the dynamic of how people deal with us in this industry, right? And it's like, I wish it wasn't like that, but it seems to be the same across every industry. And I'm trying to figure out why the cigar industry is so, I want to choose the right word.
Cliquish.
Yeah. Like, it's weird. Like I should
Can I pull back the curtain for a second?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Israel. I'm going to say something that somewhat, I don't think it's controversial, because it's the absolute truth. I don't care who out there, and this is the way it is with 90% of the lounges and shops across the country. What the bigger shops and the bigger lounges do is they have their core 4 or 5 big brands, and they continue to sell that because they want the cigar to sell itself. As a business owner, they don't want to work at selling a cigar. They want people to come in and say, hey, hand me that Romeo and Juliet, hand me that Macanudo, because that's where all the marketing is, and that's the Me Too that people, the 90% of the smokers out there that are smoking, they go for those brands. So what they want is the shops that are willing to, because there's so much buzz with boutique brands, and there's like just this year alone at the PCA, there was probably at least 30 new brands that came out. So what happens? They train their customers, okay, you want a boutique, we'll bring in a cigar. And this is not just me, this is the majority of brands that are out there. What happens is they'll bring in a brand, they'll buy it once, they'll get their customers to try it once, and then immediately the shop starts moving people away or training their customers to go back to their legacy brands. And why is that? Because these bigger brands, because of the sheer volume and money backing that they have, they offer a lot of deals. And that's the thing, buy X amount free. This will give you a kickback. We give you marketing dollars. We'll give you this. They're buying their shelf space, and then they understandably says, well, shit, I make a lot more money on these cigars, so these are the ones I want to make. And I've had people that they just don't get it in the U.S. market. It doesn't happen inside of the U.S. market, where people come to me and say, oh, you really want to, you have to give me better deal. You have to give me better pricing. And I go, look, at the prices that I'm at, this is it. I don't do the deals. And the reason is because I don't have the margin in it to do it. Mainly because I'm in Costa Rica, and the costs involved with not only the labor costs there, but the import and export costs. But other brands that are in Nicaragua, they're buying the smaller brands. They're buying from the bigger factories, and they're charging more, of course. So they have to put that into their cigar. So yeah, the boutiques that are out there where the passion is there, but their costs are a bit higher, or they can't give the same deals, or it just doesn't make sense for them to do it. So, what happens if I buy 100 boxes? I don't care if you buy 100 or you buy 10. And people say, you wouldn't do it. I think, Israel, you're the one who said that to me. And I go, yeah, for me, I want people to buy my cigar because it's something that the customers are asking for, not because it's a deal, not because that's what the retailer. I want the retailer to make money, but I think it's more important, and there's just a lot of retailers that have this mentality. I like the retailer, the customer comes in and they go, hey, Mr. Customer, I know you've been smoking that ABC brand. That's a great brand. I like that you like it, but can I offer you something that you might like as well or better? You never know. I always say, your next cigar, maybe your favorite cigars, some you haven't even tried yet. So you should always explore your palates and always try different things, because you never know. You may hit on a cigar and go, wow, this is like my new favorite cigar. But if you're only smoking one brand all the time, you're never going to reach that. So the retailers out there that are doing that, I call them real tobacconists, that are saying, hey, this is something up your alley. You should try this cigar. Those I want to be a part of, because the reality is, if you're in a big, huge humidor and you're just on the shelf, somebody may never find it. I did my own, impromptu type of surveys in humidors when I worked events, and I'll go, I noticed, Mr. Customer, that you kind of glazed over the LH, but you seem to stop at my nick, which has a very simple white paper band. Why is that? And they'll go, well, the LH looks nice and all, but it looks like just every other brand that I've never heard of. Where the Nick with the white band, and as inexpensive as that band is to produce, and might I say cheap looking, it grabs more attention, which just blows me away. And initially when I did the Nick band, there was a whole reason for it. It wasn't like I was trying to be this marketing guru about it. I couldn't get bands during the pandemic. So I used the same concept of the Nick and Jim, which is a pre-band edition, which was designed to show a white paper band that normally would mark what the blend was. And I left it on there, and it's been, I have to say that I've had several imitators already. And, the imitation is the greatest form of flattery, that other people are doing something that I did, and I'm a nobody in the industry, at least in the U.S. side of things. And people have already spotted it, and they like it. The LH band is a very, very attractive band. It looks very, I don't want to say I think it's as good as any out there. But again, people never heard of the brand. They go, oh, I don't know this. But this band with this white